Hi everyone, I'm Ginny Washburn, founder of iMoveU, and welcome to another set in the series Take 10. Today's practice is focused on sculpting your upper body, so get ready to feel the burn. Let's start with some cat-cows to warm up the body. Coming onto all fours, hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, lift your gaze, drop your belly towards the floor, lift your seat. Feeling that nice arch in your back. And then exhale, pressing your spine up towards the ceiling, pulling your abs, lower your gaze. Another inhale, dropping your belly towards the floor, lifting your gaze. And exhale, pressing your cat back up towards the ceiling, pulling your abs. Let's do one more of each. Inhale, lift your gaze. And exhale, arching your back up towards the ceiling. Come back to a neutral spine, and from here we'll move into plank pose to really fire up your upper body. Place your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Middle finger should be pointed towards the front of your mat. Straighten your legs, come up onto the balls of your feet. Your feet should be about hip width apart. Press through the backs of your legs, press through your heels, pressing your thighs up towards the ceiling to really fire up the back of your legs here. Pull in your abs, tuck your hips under, and lift your gaze a few inches in front of your hands, and that allows you to take any strain off of your neck. It keeps it in line with your cervical spine. Isometrically turning your biceps in towards one another. You're going to feel this burn in your upper body and through your core pretty quickly. We're going to hold here for a few more breaths. You have the option to stay here, or at any point you can come onto your knees, point your toes up towards the ceiling. But see if you can really challenge yourself in this full plank pose. This is one of my favorite poses of all time. It works so many muscles in your body. It really strengthens your core. And when you think about, doing new types of exercises and how it might transform or change your body over time, there's a quote that I love to reference by Jen Sincero, who wrote the book You Are a Badass, which is actually a hysterical read if you don't mind a few adult words thrown in here and there. But she says that most answers are reveal themselves through doing, not thinking. So if you're wondering, could yoga transform your body, then just do it, and do it over and over again until you start to see those answers. So let's lower down here, Chaturanga Dandasana, low plank, hold here. Breathe through it. And then lower all the way down to the floor. Whew, already sweating here. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. On an inhale, you're going to lift up either to cobra or up dog. Keeping your feet flat on the floor, pressing your pelvis into the mat. You can hold here in cobra, or straighten your arms, press all the way up. Come up onto the tops of your feet, lifting your thighs off the floor for the full upward facing dog. Lifting your gaze. Then exhale, tuck your toes, come into downward facing dog. So take a minute here, just alternate bending your knees, maybe shake your head yes, shake your head no, take away any tension from your neck. And then take a deep bend in both knees, point your sitting bones up towards the ceiling, press your chest towards the top of your thighs, and slowly start to straighten your legs, pressing your heels towards the mat. If you can't get your heels all the way onto the mat, that's perfectly okay. The goal here in downward facing dog is not to get your heels on the mat, it's to lengthen and stretch your spine. So press your shoulders away from your ears, and isometrically turn your hands away from each other as if they're trying to open a jar. So turning your fingertips away, pressing into your palms underneath where your knuckles are. That helps take a little bit of a strain off of your wrists. So holding here for another breath in downward facing dog. Then lift your right leg up straight behind you. Bend from the knee, open your hip. Rotate your ankle one direction and then the other. And then you can either hold here or you can step back, flip your dog into wild thing. Raising your right arm out in front of you, shoving your hips up towards the ceiling. Bring your gaze to your right fingertips. Coming back to three-legged dog, lift your right leg high into the sky. Slowly lower it back down. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. Lift your left leg, bend at the knee, rotate your foot, your ankle in either direction. Then you can either hold here or you can step back, flip your dog. Again, bringing your gaze to your left fingertips. Feeling that strength in your right arm as it supports you. And then let's come back to downward facing dog, three-legged dog. Lift your left leg one more time. Lower it back down. Come back to plank here. And then come on to your forearms. You can turn your palms to face one another, or you can clasp your hands here in forearm plank. And we're just going to move, flowing through between forearm plank and dolphin. So from here, to move into dolphin, shove your hips up towards the ceiling, press through your chest, and then slowly lowering back down into forearm plank. Inhale, dolphin, exhale, forearm plank. So you're going to do this a few more times and go at your own pace. Certainly don't need to follow my lead here. Go as fast or as slow as you would like. Maybe you're listening to some music. Move to the beat of the music, whatever works for you. Inhale, lifting up into dolphin. You should feel a nice stretch through your shoulders as you lift up into dolphin. Let's do two more. And one more here. Come back to forearm plank. Press up into a high plank. Press back into downward facing dog, feet flat on the floor, on the mat. Bend your knees, look towards your hands, and get a little springy, and then hop, step, or jump your hands towards your feet, towards your hands, forward fold. Now here, if you want to feel an extra stretch in your shoulders and your chest, you can interlace your hands behind you and then drop them towards the floor. You're also going to feel a nice stretch through the backs of your legs, your hamstrings, and your calf muscles. Keep a slight bend in your knees. You also have the option to not do that. Grab your opposite elbows and hang, kind of like a rag doll, and just even rotate or rock from side to side. Bring your hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up, raising your arms up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands through heart center in prayer. Standing here in mountain pose. Feeling the effects of the poses we've done so far. Take a few deep breaths here. Got a few more moves to really work your upper body before we finish up here. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hop or step back into plank. Now this time we're moving into a side arm plank. Place your left hand directly underneath your face, fingertips pointing towards the top of the mat. Rotate 90 degrees onto your side. Now there's a couple things you can do here in side plank. You can stack your feet. You can stagger your feet, bringing your top leg in front for more balance. You can drop down onto your bottom knee for extra support. And if you're feeling really strong and you don't feel like this is even enough challenge, you can lift your top leg up into the air, really lifting your hips. And if you're feeling incredibly strong, hook your toe and lift your leg up towards the ceiling. And hold here, wherever you are in side plank, Vashisthasana. It's a fun name to say. Lower back into plank. Place your right hand underneath your face. Rotate 90 degrees. Side plank on the opposite side, raising your hand stacking your feet, staggering your feet, dropping your bottom knee, or lifting your left leg this time. Maybe even trying to grab that toe. Whatever you did on the right side, do on the left so you're nice and balanced. You might notice that one side is much easier than the other. For me, this left side, or the right side, is always harder. Hold here for 2 more breaths. And then come back to plank. Bring your knees down to the floor. Knees out to the side, toes together. Press back into child's pose for just a second. Take a few deep breaths here. Get a nice little break before we do a few more poses, and then we're done. And then from here, come into a reverse tabletop position for tricep dips. So place your feet flat on the mat, parallel and hip width apart, hands behind you, fingertips pointing in towards you. Lift up into a reverse table, really lifting your hips and really thinking about gripping your glutes or flexing your seat muscle. So from here, you're just gonna lower and lift, lower and lift. Elbows go directly behind you. That'll help engage your tricep muscles. Now, interesting thing about your arms is that your tricep muscles are the largest muscles in your arms. So a lot of emphasis oftentimes is put on your biceps, but really, if you define and sculpt your triceps, you'll instantly change the look of your upper arm. Let's do 10 more here. You have the option to stay here, or you can alternate for the first 5, lifting your right leg. 2, 3, 4, 5. Left leg. 1, 2. Stay with me. 3, 4, 5. From here, just hold in that reverse table. Either hold here or straighten your legs into reverse plank. See if you can flatten your feet on the floor. Lift your gaze, drop your head. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Hold here for 2 more breaths. This is our final pose. And then slowly lower down. Coming to a seated position, cross your legs into easy pose, Sukhasana. And then to feel a nice little stretch in your arms, extend your arms out to the side. Wrap your right arm underneath your left. See if you can wrap your wrists around each other, clasping your hands. Then lifting your arms, you should feel a nice stretch through your shoulders, your back. Press your hands away from you. Feel even more of an intense stretch. And then switch sides, wrapping your left arm underneath your right. Pressing your hands away from you to increase the stretch. And release. Roll your shoulders back and down. Namaste.